When something is always within reach, the mind begins to overlook it. This is human nature. What is constant becomes background noise, blending into the routine of life without a second thought. It is only in the absence of something that its true value is revealed. This principle applies to all aspects of life, but nowhere is it more evident than in relationships. The man does not always recognize what he has while it is in front of him. When love is given freely and consistently, it is easy for him to assume it will always be there. He may enjoy the presence of someone, appreciate their kindness, and even acknowledge their role in his life. But as long as they are present, their true significance remains untested. He does not question their absence because he has never experienced it. He moves through life assuming that what has always been there will continue to be, without ever stopping to wonder what it would feel like if it were gone. But when that presence is suddenly removed, everything changes. The absence creates a shift in perception. The conversations that were once taken for granted now leave an empty space. The presence that was once routine is now a void that cannot be ignored. He begins to notice what he never noticed before. The way her voice softened his day, the way her laughter filled the silence. It is only in the quiet that the mind begins to reflect. When something is always accessible, it is not fully appreciated. But take it away and suddenly its significance becomes clear. He starts to wonder why he feels the way he does, why there is a sense of loss he did not expect, why the world feels different without her in it. This is the power of absence. It does not force realization. It allows it to happen naturally. It does not demand recognition. It invites it. This is why stepping away is sometimes the most powerful move. It is not about manipulation or games. It is about allowing space for truth to reveal itself. A man who truly values something will feel its absence and seek it out. A man who does not was never meant to keep it. This is the test that absence creates. It separates attachment from genuine desire. It distinguishes convenience from true connection. It forces him to ask himself, is this something I can live without? And if the answer is no, he will know, not because he was told, but because he felt it in his own experience. The greatest realizations do not come from words or explanations. They come from contrast. One does not appreciate warmth until they have felt the cold. One does not recognize light until they have experienced darkness. And one does not fully understand the depth of their feelings until they are forced to exist without the person who made them feel alive. Absence creates this contrast. It highlights what was once invisible, making the unnoticed impossible to ignore. This is why pulling away can be a revelation, not just for him, but for you. In that space, you also gain clarity. You see who reaches out, who notices, and who lets go without a second thought. Absence does not only reveal how much you are valued, it also reveals who truly values you. It teaches you that love does not need to be begged for or explained. It simply is. And if it is real, if it is meant, no force is needed to make the realization will happen naturally, because absence has done what presence could not. It has awakened the truth. Love is not always recognized in its presence. When something or someone is always available, the mind assumes their existence as a given. There is no urgency, no deep questioning, no need to analyze what is already there. Love, when constantly accessible, can sometimes be overlooked, not because it is not valued, but because it has never been tested by absence. The depth of an emotion, the significance of a bond, and the irreplaceable nature of a connection are often realized not in moments of togetherness, but in the space where someone once existed and no longer does. A man moves through life interacting with someone he cares for, but as long as she is present, her impact remains in the background. She is there to comfort, to listen, to give, to love. He enjoys her company, appreciates her support, and acknowledges her kindness. But does he truly see her? Does he truly understand the role she plays in his life? More often than not because he does not care, but because the mind does not always recognize the extraordinary in the midst of routine. It is human nature to assume that what is here today will be here tomorrow. It is only when it is no longer there that reality shifts. When love steps away, when presence turns into absence, the void it leaves behind speaks louder than any words ever could. The silence that once seemed unimportant now feels unbearable. The absence that once seemed unthinkable is now the only thing that occupies his thoughts. The missing presence forces him to reflect, to question, to feel in ways he never had to before. He starts to notice the difference in his world. The good mornings that once felt ordinary are now missed. The conversations he once responded to half-heartedly now echo in his mind. The small gestures he barely acknowledged now stand out as irreplaceable. The void forces him to see what he had, not in a way that can be ignored, but in a way that demands recognition. This realization is not something that can be forced. No amount of words, no explanation, no attempt to make him see will have the same impact as the space left behind by love's absence. In the stillness, in the loneliness, in the undeniable contrast between what was and what is now, he comes to understand something he never had to confront before. Life without her is not the same. This is the moment where love is no longer just a feeling he enjoyed. It becomes something he cannot ignore. This is the power of space, of detachment, of allowing someone to feel the weight of what they might lose. It is in that space where true love either reveals itself or fades away. If love is real, the void will not be bearable. It will not be something he can simply move past. He will feel it in his heart, in his soul, in his day-to-day life. He will recognize without being told that something irreplaceable is missing. And if he truly values it, he will not just think about it, he will act. This is how love is tested. Not in the moments when it is easy, not in the moments when everything is given freely, but in the moments when it is absent. The truth of what someone means to you is never fully understood in their presence. It is understood in their absence. And when that realization comes, it is undeniable. No one can be convinced of something they are not ready to see. True recognition is not something that comes from outside pressure, persuasion, or even explanation. It is something that must arise from within. A person can be told over and over again how valuable something is, how much it matters, and why they should appreciate it, but if they do not arrive at that conclusion on their own, the words will fall on deaf ears. Understanding, especially in matters of love and connection, must come from an internal realization rather than an external force. A man cannot be told to value a woman, to see her worth, or to understand her importance in his life. He may hear the words, he may acknowledge them, and he may even agree in the moment, but unless he truly feels it within himself, that recognition will not last. People do not hold on to what they are merely told to cherish. They hold on to what they have realized they cannot live without. This is why love, appreciation, and even regret cannot be forced. They must come naturally, from a place of genuine awareness. When a woman constantly reminds a man of her worth, of what she brings to his life, or why he should appreciate her, she places herself in the position of proving instead of being. But real value does not need to be proven, it is simply known. The more someone tries to explain their worth, the more the other person resists, not because they do not care, but because recognition that comes from outside lacks the power of realization that comes from within. A man must see, feel, and come to his own understanding of what someone means to him, and that understanding often does not come in moments of presence. It comes in moments of absence. When a presence is removed, when a voice goes silent, when consistency disappears, space is created for reflection. In that space, a man is faced with his own thoughts, his own emotions, and his own realizations. There is no longer a voice telling him what he should feel. There is only the reality of what he actually feels. And in that moment, if love is real, if the connection is significant, recognition will come. Not because he was told, not because he was convinced, but because he knows. And when a man knows something from within himself, no one can take that knowledge away. This is why detachment is powerful. It allows space for truth to reveal itself. It removes the noise, the explanations, and the justifications, leaving only the undeniable reality of what is. If someone truly matters, their absence will not go unnoticed. If they were significant, their presence will be missed. And if they are irreplaceable, that realization will not need to be forced. It will rise naturally, unshaken by doubt. It is in these moments of internal recognition that love is either confirmed or fades away. A man who truly values someone will come to that understanding on his own. He will not need to be reminded or convinced. He will feel it, and once he does, there will be no hesitation in his actions. The truth of what someone means to another person does not lie in what is said to them. It lies in what they discover within themselves. And once that recognition comes from within, it is unshakable. Silence carries a weight that words often fail to hold. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and constant communication, silence becomes a powerful force. It creates space, it demands attention, and most importantly, it forces reflection. When words are absent, the mind begins to listen to what the heart has been ignoring. It is in this silence that love is truly realized, not through explanations or conversations, but through the undeniable feeling of something missing. When someone is always present, their voice, their energy, and their essence blend into the background of daily life. It is easy to assume that they will always be there, to overlook their impact simply because they are constant. But the moment that presence disappears, the silence left behind becomes deafening. The absence is not just noticed, it is felt. The spaces where they once existed feel empty, and the mind begins to fill that silence with memories, emotions, and realizations that were never acknowledged before. A man may not recognize what he has when it is right in front of him, not because he does not care, but because he has never had to question its presence. He has never had to wonder what life would be like without it. Love, when given freely and consistently, can sometimes be overlooked. It is not until it is no longer accessible that its true significance becomes clear. This is why silence speaks louder than words. It does not tell, it reveals. It does not explain, it allows understanding to emerge naturally. When a woman pulls away, when she removes herself from a situation where she was once fully present, she is not punishing or manipulating. She is allowing space for truth to unfold. She is stepping back so that love can either be realized or dismissed. If her presence truly mattered, her absence will be undeniable. If she was just an option, her silence will go unnoticed. This is the test that absence creates. It separates genuine love from mere attachment, real connection from convenience. The mind does not process emotions in the midst of noise. When there is constant reassurance, constant conversation, and constant access, there is no urgency to reflect. But when silence enters the space, it forces the mind to confront reality. A man who truly values a woman will not be able to sit comfortably in that silence. It will push him into a place of recognition where he must face what he feels without distraction. If love is real, the silence will be unbearable. It will make him aware of the depth of his emotions, the irreplaceable nature of what he had, and the urgency to correct his course. If silence does not create a shift, if absence does not lead to realization, then the truth is revealed as well. There is no need to force love, no need to explain value, no need to convince someone of what they should already know. A love that must be constantly proven is a love that is not deeply felt. Silence allows for clarity, not just for the one who is left reflecting, but also for the one who steps away. It answers the question that words never could: was it real? Love is not found in chasing, in explaining, or in convincing. It is found in the undeniable pull that exists even when words are no longer spoken. The heart knows what it cannot live without, and the mind, when given space, will recognize what truly matters. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers. And in that quiet space, love either fades into nothing or shines so brightly that it cannot be ignored. Absence is often mistaken for loss, but in reality it is a test of love, of value, and of what truly belongs. When something or someone is removed from a person's life, it forces them to confront their emotions without the influence of routine, habit, or familiarity. It is in this space, in the void left behind, that truth reveals itself. What is meant to stay will not be forgotten, and what was only temporary will fade without resistance. When love is present, it is easy to assume it will always be there. People grow comfortable with what is constant, often taking it for granted, simply because they have never known life without it. They do not question its significance because they have never had to. It is only when that presence is taken away that the mind is forced to reflect. The comfort that once felt ordinary is now missed. The voice that was always heard is now silent. The energy that once filled the space is now absent. And in that absence, something happens. Realization. A man who truly values a woman will feel her absence as a disruption. It will not be something he can easily ignore or replace. It will follow him in the quiet moments, in the spaces where she used to exist, and in the thoughts he never had to entertain before. This is the purpose of absence. It creates clarity. It separates what was real from what was convenient. If love was genuine, absence will not make it disappear. It will make it stronger. If it was only an illusion, absence will expose it for what it truly was. This is why stepping away is not a loss. It is a test that does not require words, persuasion, or explanation. It does not demand recognition. It allows recognition to happen naturally. It puts responsibility where it belongs, in the hands of the one who must decide what they truly want. No amount of pleading, convincing, or reminding will make someone see what they are not ready to see. but space will. Silence will. Absence does not just test the one left reflecting, it also reveals the truth to the one who steps away. It answers the question, does he truly care? Was I truly valued? The answers do not come from words, they come from actions. A man who cannot bear to lose what he truly cherishes will not remain still in the face of absence. He will seek, he will reach, and he will make his feelings known, not because he was asked to, but because he cannot do otherwise. This is what makes absence powerful. It creates a situation where only truth remains. If someone does not react to absence, if they do not feel its weight, then the answer is clear. They were never fully present to begin with, and that is not a loss, it is a revelation. It is not a reason to grieve, it is a reason to move forward without doubt. Love that is meant to stay will always find its way back, but love that was never real will not survive the test of absence. Understanding this truth is the key to inner peace. Instead of fearing absence, one should embrace it as a tool of clarity. Instead of seeing it as the end, it should be recognized as a filter, removing the unnecessary and revealing the essential. It is not about playing games or manipulating emotions. It is about allowing reality to show itself. And in the end, the only thing that remains is what was always meant to. There is a natural flow to everything in life. What is truly meant for you will align with you effortlessly, while what is not will require endless pursuit, effort, and convincing. When it comes to love, relationships, and self-worth, the greatest lesson one can learn is to be rather than to chase. Chasing is born out of fear, the fear of losing, the fear of being forgotten, the fear of not being enough. It stems from a mindset of lack, a belief that if effort is not constantly applied, what is desired will slip away. But true love, true value, and true connection do not operate under force. They thrive in authenticity, in confidence, in presence. To chase something is to believe that without constant effort, it will disappear. But what is real does not need to be chased. It simply is. A woman who understands her worth does not run after a man trying to prove her value. She does not beg for attention, demand recognition, or exhaust herself in the pursuit of love. Instead, she stands firm in who she is, knowing that the right person will see, appreciate, and move toward her without being pushed. When you embody this energy, you shift the dynamic of relationships. You are no longer in the position of seeking validation. You become the one who is naturally chosen. People do not truly value what is too easily obtained. What is readily available at all times is often taken for granted. This is not about playing games or withholding affection. It is about understanding that self-respect requires no explanation. A person who is secure in themselves does not need to chase because they know that the right people will recognize their worth without persuasion. When you chase, you place yourself in a lower position. You are saying through your actions that the other person holds the power to decide your value. But when you simply be, when you live your life, nurture your own growth, and exist in a state of self-assuredness, you become magnetic. There is nothing more attractive than a person who is whole within themselves, who does not seek outside validation to feel worthy. Love, in its purest form, is drawn to confidence. It is drawn to those who do not beg for it, but instead radiate it from within. The moment you stop chasing, you allow love to flow toward you naturally. You create space for the right connections, the right energy, and the right people to enter your life without struggle. If someone must be convinced of your worth, they are not meant for you. If someone does not recognize your value without you proving it, they are not aligned with your journey. The right person will see without you having to make them see. They will choose without you having to make them choose. They will stay without you having to beg them to stay. The most powerful thing you can do is be confident, be present, be whole. Do not waste energy chasing after people who are unsure. Let them go. And in doing so, you make space for what is truly meant for you. When you live in this state of self-awareness and certainty, you no longer fear losing. You no longer fear being overlooked. You simply trust that what is meant for you will find its way, because you know without a doubt that you are enough.